begin with, when making my trailer, it's really important to include various genre conventions and trailer conventions in order to create a realistic representation of my film. Using naturalistic camera work to highlight the balance in power, but also to create a realistic setting/moment in the film that is ultimately fake was a key focus. Diegetic sound, in particular dialogue, can heavily influence a comedy trailer, as it is a way of creating humour, be it through the sound of the dialogue itself, or through the way it is portrayed through the actors, i.e. through exaggerated body language, or perhaps the dialogue itself. For example, by referring back to my research of Central Intelligence, a film that I followed closely and tried to match the pace of shot time. The title of my film is How to Get Famous. This clearly identifies the meaning within my storyline, which is something that perhaps deviates away from the conventions of the genre, as contemporary films such as Central Intelligence, as already mentioned, and Ride Along do not describe the concept within the film. However, I did make use of genre conventions when developing the font and style of my title and intertitles, as stereotypically the title is simple and does not include special effects, perhaps to identify a sense of simplicity, as the title therefore does not come across as intimidating nor complex, thus enabling me to conform to genre conventions whilst also creating a sense of consistency. This is something that is also important when considering my task, as the simplistic font design and black and white colour scheme used throughout, despite being basic, means that there is a relation between my poster, magazine and trailer. Within my design for the title of my trailer, poster and magazine, I decided to continue on with the consistency by using the same black and white colour scheme throughout. This matched the common feature of trailers that I analysed, once again Central Intelligence using the ongoing theme of black and orange throughout the intertitles in order to create a sense of consistency. My selection of settings, locations, costumes and props was another essential aspect of my trailer, as within the trailers that I analysed I discovered that within the complexity of the trailer, the locations used are relatively simple, with social places such as bars, tables, etc. being shown at the beginning of the trailer in order to show them as realistic. Therefore, by including the dining room table in my trailer, despite being a simple location, I was able to create a connection with the audience, as the audience finds themselves being able to associate clearly with these locations. It is also important that I use a variety of locations in order to create a sense of excitement and escapism, as the audience then finds themselves in an unlikely situation, which in turn creates humour. The costumes that feature in my trailer are simple yet relatable, and are clothes that my audience can associate with, as they are everyday clothes such as t-shirts and jeans. By including normalised mise-en-scène as such, I could further establish the naturalistic nature of my film as a whole, whilst also emphasising the fact that the main character is just a normal person. Camera work. Camera work was a feature of my trailer that I tried to maintain and keep simple throughout, as to not overcomplicate what is essentially a simple storyline. This enabled me to maintain the conventions of my genre, which is stereotypically simple and naturalistic. For this reason, I often reflected back to the trailer shortlist that I made for Central Intelligence, which highlighted the need for over-the-shoulder shots, wide shots and close-ups. I kept this in mind when storyboarding, as it showed me that these shots were also important when attempting to create humour aspect of my trailer, given that close-ups are used effectively to show the emotional state of the characters. Here you can see how the close-ups of my character differ at certain moments in the trailer in order to create a specific mood. The movement of the camera is a feature of my trailer that was important in creating a naturalistic feel for the audience, given that even the slight camera movement ensures that certain moments come across to the audience as normal and relatable. For example, moments in the trailer where the protagonist will have limited movement in order to highlight the sincerity of this particular moment, whilst during other scenes where my protagonist was active in a specific situation, there will be a considerably more movement in order to exaggerate the drama of the scene. Narrative and how the trailer sets up linear versus non-linear. Stereotypically, theatrical trailers do not follow a linear narrative in order to not completely give away the entire storyline to the audience. Therefore, this was something I needed to consider when editing, as it meant that I needed to use parts from scenes that I would feature at the end of the film and place them in the middle of the trailer, almost in order to disturb the plot. This is an aspect of theatrical trailers that I analysed, such as Central Intelligence and War Dogs, and even The Magnificent Seven, as these are all clear examples of that, which can be easily created through similar settings and mise-en-scène, as these trailers use moments from the beginning of the film and feature them at the end, which is a feature I use in order to end my trailer in the same manner and humour that it started with. Additionally, the introduction of Central Intelligence begins with both main protagonists being introduced to us differently, as one is identified as powerful whilst the other is used to create humour through his appearance. The initial construction of these characters is really important, as it is the baseline that these characters then develop upon. This original representation is then changed after an intertitle that signifies how time has progressed. We are then shown a present-day representation of these characters, which dramatically differs from the original representation we see. I decided to subvert this idea within my own trailer to a certain extent, as I focused on the stereotypical representations of my protagonist and then developed and explored an alternative portrayal of teenagers as opposed to the stereotypical representation of them. However, I did incorporate a similar construction of my characters to Central Challengers by using the same pattern in which they decorated and reflected the appearance through the mise-en-scène. Also, the absence of special effect within my trailer was something that I wanted to convey throughout, as it created the sense that this is a classic British comedy. This theme is exaggerated through my use of filters, or rather my decision to ignore them, as despite Central Intelligence using filters within scenes to enhance the brightness and clarity, I opted to deviate away from this idea simply in order to further exaggerate the idea that this is a realistic, yet relatable, comedic spin on reality. Therefore, the best and only way to construct this was to make it as naturalistic as possible. Similarly to my trailer, I needed to consider conventions from current examples when constructing my very own poster and magazine. My research into these products was pivotal in creating a sense of reality, and although the images I use in my poster and magazine are different, there is a clear relation between the two, and even in my trailer as well. This is achieved especially through my use of font, as originally I wanted to create my own font in order to make it as original as possible. However, it was clear when using this font across all my ancillary tasks that this, for one, didn't suit my genre, and two, did not match conventions. Given that typically the title and intertitles on a poster, magazine, and trailer are complex, but when looking at this font and design across all of the tasks, it simply didn't fit. I therefore opted for a considerably simpler font, this being not only in terms of design but also in terms of size, as when designing my magazine, my research highlighted that the complexity of the magazine, be it alternative advertisements, the title of the magazine itself, or additional context, all of which I needed to consider when constructing my magazine, as I needed to decide if my magazine will follow the conventional magazine or deviate away from it. I ultimately decided to maintain a conventional layout by including the masthead, this being the title of the magazine, not the title of my film. Cover lines, this also meaning things relating to my film. My main images are something that, as I mentioned before, were different, as I instead maintained a relation across my tasks through my particular use of colour schemes, as well as font design. However, there are some similarities between the two, with my poster and magazine both having a close-up of my main character for the main image. By using this specific shot type, the audience are encouraged to question, why is he holding the camera? Why is he looking directly into the camera? This enigma in particular was important, as my research highlighted that general posters include the main image that looks away from the camera, whilst comedic posters, more often than not, include a main character looking directly into the camera. The direct address here not only illustrates the confident personality of my main character, but it also evokes a sense of humour through the inclusion of a smile on my main image, which mirrors the comedy within the film. In contrast, although stereotypically speaking magazines are more complex, this process has highlighted to me that they still require some degree of simplicity, which is something I attempted to create through my colour scheme, as I maintained the black and white font colour, whilst the colour of my background matched the magazine that I wanted to emulate. However, as you can see, I changed the shade of blue. This specific transition from a darker colour to a lighter colour on the back of my magazine is used to signify that the transition of my main character that he makes within the film will be from a failure to success.